All right. Hello and welcome to this November edition of the American Soccer Crash Course. A couple pops on the table today. Lodge had a positive review at work.
Yeah, we're very excited. We're very excited. Yeah.
Here to discuss, among other things, kind of a wrap of 2023 for the U.S. men's national team. We got a little award show to give you, just like a SportsCenter episode when you were a kid, a little top 10 moments at the end, and discussion of the latest window and a couple things in between. So excited to be here today, and I think we just roll right through the tough part of this, which is talking about the latest two games in Trinidad. Obviously, it was a week or so ago, but anytime you're repeating the score line of the worst moment in the program's history down in Trinidad, that's not good. So as many of you may have known, we go into this two-legged tie with Trinidad, home and away, and basically it was a manufactured setup in like the quarterfinals of the Nations League that our kind of administrative guy brokered so that if we win that, we can get both into the Nations League and play some quality games there and qualify for the Copa America. So you kind of have a bit of a layup situation here. Mm-hmm. And our first game, we're at home. Definitely some injuries beating up the squad. No Pulisic, no Weah, no Adams. Obviously, is a bit of a long-term miss. But in that first game, you got Kevin Paredes on the left wing, Malik Tillman on the right wing, Balogun up top, and then kind of standard everything else. You know, Gio, McKennie, Musa, Turner at the back. A lot of things you're used to. And in that first half, it was kind of like a lot of the same story that we've seen against a low block where our team – I mean, I'll say that I don't think our players particularly played very well. And like DeMarcus Beasley said at halftime, like our dudes just need to step up a little bit. But it's also a situation where you're watching us struggle against a low block again against a team we should just blow out of the water. Yeah. And it's hard not to look at the coach. What did you guys think during that first game?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little disappointing. I think it was a vintage Berhalter ball performance, which you hate to see. I mean, as you mentioned, with no CP or Weah, like those are probably, you could argue, probably our two most critical attacking players that help break that down and can, have the speed to, get around the outside. But it was disappointing to see. I think we would have obviously liked to see better. But we've seen worse performances against Trinidad before. I'm glad we at least were able to come away with a win from it. But it definitely, we didn't leave that game feeling much better about our friend Greg. I don't know. What do you think, Lodge?
I mean, what we always talk about, you get one, blood's in the water, you get a couple more, right? It takes one to open the floodgates, and we eventually got there. Obviously, we would have liked to get there earlier. I think the last time I was here, because I missed the last podcast, apologies to all the viewers who were looking for me.
Lodge, our numbers were through the floor on that one.
Yeah,
Come
I
on.
bet. The last one that I was here about 2 months ago, we were talking about Greg's super innovative thing of just playing through ball, or not playing through balls, playing long switches across the back.
Yeah, you did not like that,
I did not like that. But guess what opened him up in that game? I believe it was a long switch where eventually, we had a 1-2 combination, and then we ended up scoring. So, I mean, say what you want about the tactics. They worked, I guess. Just another, as you said, another Greg Ball performance.
Yeah, I just one I don't remember if this is a tweet or a commentator's note from the game, but one thing that kind of stuck with me about Greg is it's basically a comment to the effect of, right, if a couple players have a bad game, that's a couple players having a bad game. But if your entire team, if every player on your team has a bad game, that's usually a sign of bad coaching.
Right.
And I never really heard it framed that way, but that made me kind of groan a little bit because that was kind of what it felt like, right? It felt like we all were having an off game, right? And I think obviously we lack, with Paredes and Tillman, they have potential, but right, they lack the chemistry with, Gio and the guys that are in there consistently. So there's built-in excuses for Greg, but it wasn't encouraging that it seemed like we all had an off night. And I think your first thought has to go to is the system, are they not liking the system? Is it Greg's fault?
And there were 10 men. I forgot about that. Weston gets chopped down in the first half, and
whatever.
However much they were bunkering even harder than that. After that moment, I guess good on Weston to draw a red card that ended up, being big. But we go into that game 0-0 at half, and just like the second half, they actually played well, but the angst level's so high, dude. You're like, I just want to see us just hang 6 on these guys.
Just put one in,
Yeah, and then Pepe eventually saves the day. Once again, launched this agenda, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've had the Pepe agenda for a while now, and I'll get to what he did today. We're recording this on Wednesday, November 29th.
Oh my gosh, dude, yeah, we should have led with that.
We're not gonna talk about that until I get there.
Okay.
But yeah, my Pepe,
Settled.
all of my agendas are coming into. It's like if you've seen that Star Wars meme where it's Emperor Palpatine saying everything is proceeding exactly as I have foreseen.
Yeah.
Everything is proceeding exactly as I have foreseen. Yeah.
This guy needs a fucking raise, man. All over it. So that second half, Pepe breaks through, and then you get a long shot from Jedi that gets deflected, a Geo goal that gets deflected, and just eases things a little bit, but it just doesn't feel good. So you go down to Trinidad in game 2. You're looking for a response. Trinidad coach says before the game they're going to play a little more open, and that's what happens, and we're rolling. Like Brennan Ericsson's trying so hard to score a goal, which just is literally impossible for the kid, unfortunately. And we're peppering goal. Eventually, Jedi has a really nice diving header. Jedi's been for club and country chipping in with some goals and assists lately, which is cool. I feel like he's growing in confidence as a leader. Just something to watch out for.
Yeah.
But a moment that will live in infamy, 40-minute mark, Serginio Dest gets called out that he believes that he kept in, and he loses his damn mind. Who wants to take this one from me? Give me some thoughts on this.
I'm gonna stay away from this one. I've got more to say about it later. Yeah.
Yeah, Lodge has quite a history with acting up on the field, so I think if anything, he could probably relate to Serginio as much as anyone. No, yeah, I think. I don't know. It definitely seems like there's a lot of built-up frustration because the reaction to what was at stake in that moment was like not matching up at all. Like he was literally just a ball going out, and I kind of watched the replay. Like it looked like it did go out.
You think so?
I thought I don't know.
It's almost not even worth.
It's not even. Yeah, it's like
inconsequential.
it doesn't really fucking matter. But yeah, it seems like I think a lot of people mentioned it seems like a lot of just an accumulation of built-up frustration with his club situation, with kind of his perception as a prospect.
Okay, so that's what you think
I would
about
probably
it?
assess it. I mean, just straight up, he does seem like he has anger issues a little bit too.
Yeah.
I mean, which like is fine. I think I like that's part of the thing I like about this team is we do have a little bit of a fire in the belly.
Yeah.
With guys like him and McKennie, but yeah, a pretty rash and reckless display from him. But what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. One thing that crossed my mind was just there's a lot of notable absences in that game, and he gets a red card, and he's kind of like jawing back at Ream and at Turner. Turner pushes him off the field. It just was like ugly. I agree with you that you could see a scenario where this is like some pent up rage. So I was kind of wondering, like, if you have Pulisic on the field, if you have Weston, maybe especially like Tyler Adams, right? Like, does he snap out of that? Does he? Because like for me, that moment screamed like lots of arrogance, just in terms of like, I'm playing on a freaking Caribbean island. Like, I'm way better than this. I've played at Barcelona. Like, I've got some CONCACAF ref trying to screw me right now. Like, screw this. We're winning the game anyway. I'm just going to throw a hissy fit. I'm entitled to do that.
I think I'm going to spin zone this, and I'm going to say he's been through a lot in the past 2 to 3 years, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, he's from, as you
sunken
said,
place.
Barcelona to AC Milan to PSV now, like having so many different areas and trying to fit into a team, and eventually, the only team that's been his consistency has been United States. Granted, he's played pretty well for us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that ball goes out. I don't know what set him off. I don't know if somebody was saying something or what, but it seemed like he had something to get out. And I mean, he was apologetic after the game, as one should be, right?
Yeah.
But it feels like, I don't want to say it's a throwaway and it doesn't really matter that much, but it felt like he needed to get it out. And now that he got it out, it happens.
Yeah, the silver lining is that like this of all the places and times this outburst could
Exactly.
happen,
Yeah.
it came on a second leg in Trinidad when we're already up 3-0
But don't you
on
think he
aggregate.
knew that? He had to have known that, and
Yeah.
for me, that in and of itself is like pretty damn
And that's a fair point.
concerning
That's a
because
fair point.
it was like an assessment, and it was like I'm justified in these actions right now.
Yeah.
I thought like his teammates were pissed at him, right? Like Reem and
Yeah.
the Fulham boys were kind of like giving it to him in the press afterwards. But I do think one thing that has to be frustrating for his teammates, right? Like you've got, there's core guys, right, that are upset, like Turner was upset, but then you've got like Paxton Aronson who, got called up and was probably anticipating getting a little tick there, and the whole complexion of the game and like the whole game plan gets thrown out the window because he took this upon himself. And I would imagine people are pissed. And he got that red in the Nations League over the summer, and everyone kind of chalked it up to like crazy game against Mexico, blah blah. But did you guys feel like, Elijah? I know you mentioned him going through a bunch of tough things, but I've always thought he was just kind of like a quirky, misunderstood guy, and like I kind of constantly felt like, okay, maybe these things didn't work out at Barca or AC Milan, but like I was kind of riding with him. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was like, oh, we maybe just got a glimpse into like why these things haven't worked out. What do you guys think of that? Because I felt like it was unprofessional enough where maybe it's a window into that.
Yeah, I mean, this was an extreme example of that, but like you also kind of see like a little the recklessness in like even his style of play and like moments of his play, right?
Yeah.
Where he'll like do a skill move that the moment does not require. Like you know what I mean? He has moments where he'll do things on a smaller level within the flow of the game where you're like, the heck was that, dude?
Yeah.
Like
Or the after the game, after you get beat 4-0 to Arsenal, posting the hype video.
like that's kind of like, and it's not generally it's not bad. Like that's part of
Right.
like what makes him who he is as a player. But this was like obviously a bad manifestation of it. But like it is sort of kind of who he is. But I think a lot of times you have to take the bad with the good with players at this level. So
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, let's be honest, there could be a lot worse things that he's doing outside of the game that would be like taking away from the team. At some level, he's making it about himself. Okay, like he has been in a bunch of teams where nothing is about him, which is unfortunate. Like I get it, but after watching the Beckham doc, after like I saw like Raja Nainggolan compilation. Fantastic, by the way, if you ever want to see a bunch of screamers. The guy only scores bangers. But he was...
You're going to have trouble typing that one to Google, too.
Raja Nainggolan, yeah. But he was kicked out of the French team because he just refused to do any of the fitness stuff. It's not like he's like... Serginio's not putting in the time, not putting in the reps and everything.
Yeah.
It's just that when he does it in his own certain way. If it's going to come with a red card one every X amount of games...
Twice in a year in a national team? That's kinda a lot.
I don't love it, but if there was a time to do it post World Cup when the stakes were pretty low, I guess is the time to do it.
Okay, so here's my next question. He's going to be suspended for with that quote, win over Trinidad. We qualify for Copa America and we qualify for the Nations League. Mm-hmm. He misses the semifinal of the Nations League against Jamaica automatically. What would you guys do, disciplinary-wise or lack of discipline, for that window? Like, what do you want to do here? Because you bring up future competitions. I think every South American team saw that tape and said, oh, my gosh, we're going to get under this. Like, those South American teams do shithouse like nobody else. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm looking right at that guy, and I'm fucking with him.
So what you're asking in terms of like discipline?
What would you do from here? He's going to be suspended the semifinal. Would you suspend him the final? Would you call him up and just keep him on the bench and give Scally the spot? Like, how would you think about that?
I mean, like, listen, I think, we're adults. Like, this is the men's national team. I don't think there's any, Greg level suspension that's needed in addition to what he's already suspended for. Okay. I think it's more so just a matter of communication from mainly the team and the leaders of the team, and like to understand that like that there's no more room for that in this league. But that's the main thing for me, and like I think that it just needs to be something between the players, that there's trust there. I don't think like we need to be suspending guys longer. Like I don't think that's good for anybody. Like this,
Okay.
we want to win this final. Like we want our best players in the field.
Yeah.
And maybe it's Dest, maybe it's not. That's dependent upon him, like how the team feels and how the coach feels with his work and commitment. But I don't think we need to be like, oh, we'll suspend him an additional amount of time. I don't think that's necessary. What do you think, Lodge?
South America, the best tune-up that we could possibly have for them in terms of like shit housing and getting somebody tuned up would be Mexico,
Yeah.
and that's probably who we're going to play in the final if it does turn out that way. So I say, yeah, obviously you play him in the final, see how he does. He has gotten a red before. If he gets another red, you know it now. You know it, and he unfortunately cannot be trusted, but it gives him another opportunity to be trusted, and I think it's a great opportunity for him to show that he can handle himself like a professional in that way.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think Mexico is definitely a great tune-up. Yeah, it's a tough one. If the game, let's say it was like, okay, so this is in the November window. We're not playing till March. Let's say it was like a few weeks from now. I'd feel a lot more comfortable suspending him.
Sure.
It is a little bit weird, like 4 months. You're going to suspend somebody for 4 months ago, but man, I kind of fall on the like old man yell at cloud here. I sort of would want to suspend him for just the Nations League, nothing beyond that. But like this is a dude who like often does not get the point of things. Like you see him so many times when he like there's a goal that's conceded on his head. He has this characteristic like leg slap, and then like whatever. All right, on to the next. And I just feel like he's a bit of the space cadet type, and only like something like formal like suspending him is going to get this across before. If we lose the Nations League, I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to lose to Mexico, but we've beaten them like 4 or 5 times in a row. Like I know we have their number. Mm-hmm. I want to see us do something big at Copa America, and if getting that point across to him before he gets people just under his skin like crazy, that would just be where I fall on it. But
fair.
It's certainly an agree to disagree kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so all of that being said, Dest loses his mind. They sub on Joe Scally for Gio. Gio is a planned sub at the 45. They're playing with Pepe and Balogun. And perhaps one of the most brutal parts about this red card is Trinidad go and score like immediately to make it 1-1. Goalkeeper committee here. If you saw that one, thoughts on the Matt Turner role in that first goal?
Mm-hmm. The goal was, classic Matt Turner fashion, not necessarily a counterattack, but a long ball played in and a ball played in behind the back.
Lodge is using this opportunity to further.
I'm not gonna say that Cameron Carter Vickers like had something to do or didn't have something to do with it. He did. He tripped and like it was a 1-on-1.
It wasn't awful defending.
It wasn't awful defending, and honestly wasn't awful goalkeeping. Like he got beat near post, but those are the type of ones you're okay giving up because he blasted it. Like when you're a kid, they say like never get beat near post. In order to have something coming on the backside, like you have to be able to play it a little bit more.
Okay.
And so I was okay with him getting beat on that first one.
It also looked like he slipped. So I was disappointed, but I'm also like it's those pitches can be crazy. So
it was a top ends of front corner. Like it happens. I wasn't that mad at it.
Okay, so we go into half. We're still rolling with a very offensive lineup, even though we have 10 men because of this Dest red card. But by the way, that goal just makes you like even a little more incensed about what Dest did. Mm-hmm. And then the game's like a little more back and forth, and Trinidad get a free kick. And I don't even need your guys' analysis on this one. Absolute howler from Matt Turner. Some dude just launches one from outer space, but like it's right at him, and it somehow goes in. It might have been moving a little bit, but there's no excuse here.
There was no knuckle on that one.
Yeah. First thing I do immediately is text you, Lodge, and say that prediction you made back in September about Turner not being the starter in 2026. It's looking decent.
Yeah, that one was inexcusable. So it was a free kick, 30, 40 yards outside the box.
Yeah.
And so he sets the line 10 yards away for whatever reason, to keep the high line, to keep a bunch of space in between him so he can go out and get the ball. He's not the type of guy to go out and get the ball. He's not terribly aggressive off his line. Okay. I'm going to be talking a little bit more about how he's not terribly aggressive off his line in a little bit. But I think he had in his mind too much that there was going to be a ball played in as opposed to a shot.
Okay.
And the guy just took a shot and he was not expecting it.
It was pretty far out.
It was pretty far out. You got to punch it. You got to parry it. He tries parrying it and it just goes off his hand in the goal. That was bad.
Yeah.
That was bad. He was, I think, between two minds at that point. It was bad.
Yeah, and then the team really does not respond well at all, for whatever reason, and it ends up a 2-1 game. Pretty disappointing. Thank God there was like Chiefs Eagles, some really good Monday Night Football game on that that clouded whatever we had going on. But we do move on to Nations League Copa America. Yeah, just last thoughts on that, guys. Like panic meter when you lose to Trinidad 2-1. Do you take the context, or is that just like a full stop? That absolutely can never happen.
I mean, as long as we got through unscathed, so it's not ideal, but it's sort of like all right, that was kind of fucked, but as long as we get it together for this semifinal, then
Yeah.
I'm okay. But if
Okay.
this semifinal, if we don't beat Jamaica, a team we should easily beat, or that our Gold Cup team beat, then I think in context with this loss, we maybe have more to talk about in terms of concerns.
All right, yeah. So kind of disappointing. I'm certainly not panicking, but Max, I think about what you said, and I think this is a good segue to 2023. But I think about what you said about just the cloud of Berhalter, and I can excuse that game with the craziness of Dest with a Turner howler, and honestly, I thought 2 Turner mistakes, but it just puts an awful taste in your mouth, and that's kind of been the theme of this fall. And so I would love to kind of get your guys' State of the Union, quick little 2023 wrap up. We had Spotify Wrapped today. U.S. Men's National Team Wrapped 2023. How would you guys feel about this year?
That what's the Arctic Monkeys album with the heartbeat thing on the front?
Okay, AM, I believe.
AM, yeah. So it's not the album itself. I'm not going to say that, but it's the
was a
it's
good
the heartbeat.
album.
Yeah, it's a fantastic album.
Yeah.
But it's the heartbeat itself. A lot of
Okay.
ups, a lot of downs. Ends up flatlining at the middle. Nothing really changed. We didn't change the coach.
Yeah.
We didn't change any. The couple new players came in. We're excited about. A couple of the old guard went away, but in the end, 2023 was supposed to be a year about excitement, about moving forward after the World Cup, and I feel like really not much change.
Do you feel bad?
I feel like we stagnated. Whether
Okay.
whether or not that's good or bad, I mean, I would have loved to move forward, or I would loved to have a radical up or a radical down, so I had something to comment on. But it's just like
That doesn't
just
help
like-
us here, yeah.
yeah, we had 6 months of is Greg going to come back, and
Yeah.
then he comes back, and you know how I feel about Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my take is, it hasn't been terrible, but it's just like you mentioned, the Greg dark cloud.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't think, and listen, I'm not as critical of Greg as a lot of people are on Twitter, but he is kind of just like a vibes serial killer. Like, even like nothing's bad. Like, we're doing fine, but
Yeah.
just the vibes aren't great.
Yeah, the vibes
right.
are not good.
And it's just, it
And
feels like
the team prides itself on their vibes.
yeah, and the team themselves have great vibes a lot of times, but it just seems like even when, and I don't think he's as bad as people say, but it just seems like the vibes aren't as good as they could be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no reason to panic, there's no reason to freak out.
Yeah.
But like, I could be feeling better than I am.
Yeah.
And it's still to be seen. We got some big games coming up in the Nations League. If we go on to win the Nations League, I think I'll be singing a different tune.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of stuck in the middle right now.
Yeah.
On how I'm feeling.
And it's like this cloud. I partially, by the way, think this is on just like people need to like find a way to draw some positivity from positive moments. But as you alluded to, Ricardo Pepi today scored the biggest goal of his entire career, easily. He just scored a Champions League winner at the death on the road to take his Dutch team to the round of 16 in the Champions League.
Correct.
Insane, right? Now everyone is really happy about it, but immediately the discourse is like, well, if your striker's scoring these goals in the Champions League and you're struggling to beat Trinidad, something's wrong with the coach. It's valid. Like, I'm not even. It's a fair comment. It's awfully like clouded and a little bit negative, but like that's just where everyone is. It feels like right now, all the fans, and it's almost like, there was a time when you thought of negativity and you associated it with maybe a few players on Twitter, but like, pick your social media site. Instagram comments, YouTube comments, like everyone is livid, dude. Like your occasional Barstool blog that actually gives attention to the national team. There's such a cloud, man. And like for me, I would love if we just play Copa America next month and we just put this discourse to bed. Unless he just like either it's sink or swim for me in that. Unless he like gets some quarter, like he plays great in the quarterfinal, something like right where it flatlines and the discourse continues. But
I'm with you.
yeah.
No, a quarterfinal in Copa America would be a failure.
Okay.
A semifinal would be the
Break even.
the flat line for
I
me.
agree
But
with
yeah,
that.
I'm with you. If we just played it next month, I'd be so much happier. Just like knowing either way, like blissful, like ignorance is bliss. I don't agree with that at this situation.
Okay.
We've seen what we have.
Yeah.
And we've seen what happened in the World Cup. It's going to be 3 more years of what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not terribly excited that he has the reins until 2026.
Yeah.
Until I see the
But
Copa
do
America
you think they're
either way.
going to use this 2024 as a measuring stick?
They didn't. They said they weren't going to, at least. They said he's there till 2026. That's what his contract
I know, but I mean, there's things you say and things you plan on. Like if we crash out the group stage, you can't possibly continue with
I
that.
don't think we're going to crash out the group stage.
Okay.
But
I don't think we
Knowing
can do
Greg, we'll do just enough
Yeah.
for him to give us give him the benefit of the doubt.
that. Yeah.
we'll limp him.
Anniversary of the Iran game from last year. I think that was yesterday.
Wow.
That was 45 minutes of hell holding on to that 1-0 lead. Cool. So I think that about sums our feelings on the 2023 year up. Again, I don't feel worse than I did a year ago. I don't even feel bad, but I don't feel how I'd like to feel. So we did make a wish list around Christmas time last year. I thought it might be fun to kind of go over that, see what we got. So one thing we asked was to rethink the striker position. I think we all had that in different variations on our wish list. I'd say we absolutely accomplished that with Balogun, with bringing Pepe back in, and Jesus is gone. P-Fox actually, he's developing his game, but he got the message. He's got to get better. And like Haji's not exactly in the picture right now, but I would say we did that. You guys think so?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty much best case scenario. I mean, we got Balogun. He's looked good.
Yeah.
He's had some big moments. And then Pepe, who we've all been a big fan of leading back to the World Cup last year, has played his role kind of as the super sub perfectly. He's had a lot of big goals for us. He's had a lot of big goals for club. So I think if you would have asked us back then what our ideal striker situation would be, it would probably be this. So I think that worked out well for us.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if Balogun was on your radar at this point in time.
Yeah,
last
it
year.
was. We were
Like a little bit.
I think it was, yeah.
Like a little bit. But I remember like just being livid that Pepe wasn't given a chance. And now that I'm still a little butthurt about him not being there, but at the same time, he's taking it in stride.
Yeah,
like he could have not taken it in a better way.
So I'm not gonna lie, my head was turned today. Like, do you think that Pepe just bangs in a goal in the Champions League, massive goal, and he's got right now in the Dutch League and the Champions League, he's contributing to a goal every 37 minutes. Do you think he's starting to really put his name in the hat to be the starting striker?
Well, let me ask a question. Pepe was subbed on for this game, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I at least for me.
So he sits behind Luke De Jong, who like played at Barca. And he's kind of a vet, and he's just been so good. He's been so good.
So
in the Dutch league this year.
So spin zone, to your point, maybe Pepe is just great off the bench. So
it's possible.
Like I really like I like what we have going with our current striker setup. I think Balogun's been really good.
Okay.
And I think the vibes are good.
Yeah.
I think maybe getting fancy and getting too cute with it right now and giving Pepe some starts. While I don't hate the idea, I feel like that could mess with the vibes a little bit. I mean, Balogun is recently joined this team, and I think we don't want to start sending him a message early that we're going to be skittish if he doesn't score a goal every game.
Right.
So I think we stick with what we're doing, and I think Pepe's still going to get his chances in almost every game, I would say. So I think we keep it rolling with what we got.
I'm 100% with you, Max, and the connection that I'm going to draw is a Bayern Munich one. I know we have the Dortmund over there, but Matisse Tell, for those of you who don't know, is a super sub, like an 18-year-old French phenom for Bayern Munich, and he has been working his butt off to try to start. He comes into like late games when it's tied, and he comes on
and he scores.
He scores. He does the dirty work, and he gets a goal. Pepe's the exact same way.
Yeah.
And Thomas Tuchel, the manager of Bayern, says, "Look, like as much as I want to start the kid, the role that he's playing right now is he's doing such a good job. I don't want to mess up the feng shui of the team.
Dude,
I think
that's what Tuchel did in Pulisic too.
Yeah, but
Tuchel.
yeah, not going to get into that. But yeah, at this point, I say don't touch the good juju. Like just let it keep on keeping on until something happens.
Yeah, and we got a few months till our next game. Like, I'm pretty much with you guys unless Pepe just goes on an absolute tear. Then I'm really starting to think about it. But yeah, I'll roll through more of our wish list. I asked for Copa America. We got that. That was nice. I asked for some public display of like the accomplishment at the World Cup. I kind of listened back to that podcast. And I was like, dude, that's loser talk. They don't really deserve much. But I think my thinking was just that they were in Europe, went and played this World Cup, and then went right back to Europe, and so no one got to interact with the American fans. But just screw that one. We didn't get it, and it's fine. Max, you asked for an MLS or anti-MLS quota. I don't think it's in writing, but how would you say Greg's doing with that?
I mean, I think it's definitely shifted in that direction, right?
Yeah.
I mean, especially when you look at guys like Lund and like other players we've brought on in spots where you would have expected to see some MLS guys in the past. Yeah. So I think it was never anything we would have seen in writing. Yeah. But I think in terms of the team selection, I think Greg's pretty much lived up to what I was hoping for.
Yeah,
which is good.
I would say that is a progression and things he's done. So that's nice. All right, so we asked for Potts or Jesse Marsh. We didn't do that. Now Jesse Marsh is doing. He has a new podcast coming out.
We're competing, yeah.
Yeah, we are competing. We are competing.
We asked
with
for him as
Jesse.
our coach. Yeah, now he's competing against us.
Yeah. It was really fun. I don't know if have you guys seen the clips from that CBS show where it's like called Kicking It, and it's with like Clinton Dempsey and Kate Abdo, and they're all like. It is actually. I will say, like the Landon Donovan episode in particular was super interesting. There have been a couple of good ones, but. They were like grilling Jesse Marsh in the Champions League yesterday. They're like, it's like mid coverage, and they're like, Jesse, like, what do you think of Greg Berhalter? And I'm like, dude, everyone knows that Jesse Marsh was like 1 foot in the door for the USA job. Like, this is so shameless. Yeah. Just asking him, like, what do you think? Is he doing a good job? This job that you wanted and didn't get? So kind of weird. But all right, I wanted to like put up or shut up, kind of. What's the right word here? Not performance, but display from Gio over the course of like a year. Mm-hmm. I would say we sort of got it. We got the fact that he's good at soccer. Like, we got that at club. I would have loved him to play for Dortmund, but I blame that more on the idiot coach at Dortmund, who I would love to see canned. And I don't care if they just won the group of death in the Champions League. He got lucky. I stand by it. So I do think Gio showed us what he's all about, lived up to all that prospect hype that – quite honestly, like with my ripping on Gio, something I've like, not ripping on Gio, but the thing I said last year.
No, it's ripping on Gio.
Okay, we'll call it ripping on Gio. Like, I don't think I had a full appreciation for just how much of like a fantastic prospect he was. I actually saw him score as a 16-year-old at Notre Dame preseason, and I still didn't. I guess.
What? Notre Dame preseason?
Yeah, Dortmund was at Notre Dame for a preseason game, and he scored like in the second minutes against Liverpool. It was pretty impressive. But, yeah, I don't think I had like an appreciation for just how high caliber of a prospect he is, and that's why I think lots of people he's rewarded that promise to an extent, and I definitely have some respect in his name for that. Lodge, you asked for like a specific identity. That doesn't feel like that happens.
Nope, no identity.
And maybe that'll be something that has to happen over several years. That's probably not something.
I mean, yeah, we've started the fiery. We've started the, rah, go team. But, well, I mean, like, we now back up a player when he gets hurt, or like when somebody like goes in and puts in a bad tackle. That wasn't something that we did.
Okay,
4 years ago.
I got that.
That's what I guess what I'm trying to say. That is an identity that's built over 4 years leading up to a World Cup. This one was just, we're a young team who has nothing to lose. Yeah. We didn't play like we had nothing to lose, but we had nothing to lose. It'll be interesting to see what the next one is going into 2026.
Nice. And I wanted some set piece improvement. We didn't get that. Okay, on to the Crasheys. Our awards. Max, your MVP for the year.
This one's a hard one. There's not one player that stands out. I mean, first, probably a guy that comes to mind. More so just in terms of consistency. That's probably the main thing we're looking for across all these. Jedi stands out to me. I think he's had a great couple of showings. He's been, arguably our most consistent player, right? And we've seen injuries that have affected that, but I think he's a guy that's been been really good for us. There's some obvious ones like, obviously CP and I think Way has been really good as well. But there's a lot of ways you can go here. I think there's no clear winner.
All right. My MVP is Ricardo Pepi. I mean, he's just come on time and time again and scored.
Really?
Like you can think of so many games where he's like El Salvador, Mexico, so many really good performances from him where he comes in, does the dirty work, and I don't think there's, like you said, a clear cut. So I'm giving it to Ricardo Pepi. All right, let's switch it up. Dad of the year. All right, we got Dad of the year. Here are our nominees: two-time father at 23 years old, Josh Sargent.
A lot of sex.
A lot of stuff. I mean, dude, if you're just kind of huddled up in England
why not
with your wife
In Norwich, of all places.
in Norwich, I heard there's nothing to do there. Why not? Why not just pump a couple kids out at 23? Respect to Josh Sargent. Airborne 69. Weston McKinney's father, John McKinney.
Great father.
great dad. Actually, a great dad. Notably, Airborne tweeted that Weah and McKinney should both start after they hadn't both been starting. Immediately that week, Juventus's coach has them both start. So
Yeah.
I mean,
great
this guy,
great Twitter presence.
Yeah.
Also a decorated veteran.
Yes, also yes. Thank you for your service.
And a great father.
All right, lastly, Claudio Reyna, fighting for his kid on and off the pitch.
Yep. Enough said.
All right. I think, oh man, it's hard not to give it to Airborne, right? He's the man.
No. We created this award for Airborne, so he could win.
Some of
there's
these
no
weren't
confusion
serious
here.
nominees.
No.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. Best goal.
You, Christian.
All right. This one's easy for me. Pulisic versus Germany.
Cut that.
Yeah.
It comes in from the left, cuts in.
Well, that was my best moment, though.
Well, it can still be your best moment. Okay. That works. All right. Best U.S. men's national team Twitter account. Who are you guys giving this one to? Lots of candidates. I know in the past year we've kind of expanded our presence on Twitter. Who do you guys like the most on that app that sometimes gets hostile?
I love Watke.
Okay.
I think he's got quality tweets and he doesn't go too much, too in depth. He's not like responding to every single person that says something.
Yeah.
And he's like my sense of humor. It's like I don't want to say the John Boys of like U.S. men's soccer, but like the similar like just aloof humor I think is what gets me giggling.
Oh, nice. All right.
I think Vince from that's his name, right? Vince.
Yeah,
from
Vince.
Scuffed.
Yeah, shout out to Vince.
Shout out Vince
for our shout out.
I don't know. He has some good tweets. It's pretty relatable. They have a good pod too. Also, shout out USMNT videos. Sanjeev. I've been following him for a while.
Yeah.
I think his Twitter's fallen off a little bit, but
he's there.
He was my OG. He was always tweeting great videos back in the day.
Nice.
So I more so historic. Just for the kids out there just tuning into USMNT Twitter. They don't know Sanjeev like I do.
Damn.
Anyway,
okay. I don't even know him like you do.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I have an account. You don't.
What
know?
did he get up to back in the day?
So his account was USMNT videos.
Okay.
Because he would just tweet videos mainly.
Okay, like comps or like just like hype videos.
Mainly
Both. Yeah. I mean there were some hypes.
You remember him?
Yeah, I definitely remember.
And then over time he sort of made it more of a personal account, which was not bad. I mean, but
he now has like a profile picture of him in a mirror, like with the cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
yeah,
but-
kind of a deep cut, but
Deep cut.
I think he might be a Scuffed guy too. I'm not sure, but
Might
either
be.
way, massive fan of the Scuffed podcast.
Good guy, good
best
guy.
best $2 I spend a month on their patronage. They're just so good. They might I might concede that they might be better than our podcast. Maybe. I'm not going to go that far, but maybe. My favorite national team account is the USMNT burner. Not sure if you guys saw this or have seen this guy around. They always post, who's starting. I like that, but probably my favorite part is like when something bad happens, they have like these, almost like they pull them from Shakespeare, but they have all these tweets. They'll have like Brendan Aronson will like miss a sitter, and they'll be like, "I'm not." They'll post a picture of it and be like, "I'm not the man I once was." Or like,
good, yeah.
like they have all these super dramatic lines they throw out that are really funny. So I enjoy them. All right, your breakout player of the year.
Let me go through my. Ooh, I got a good one. Malik Tillman.
Okay.
I think it came in late in the year, but now that he's starting to come into his own in the squad, he played both on the wing as well as like a center attacking mid, like a false nine.
Yeah.
And in both areas, he excelled. He made like a lot of chances for the squad. I'm very excited to see what he has moving forward, especially with a Gio that sometimes gets hurt. Not sometimes, all the time gets hurt.
Yeah.
You know, having the ability to sub somebody in and not have to switch formations altogether, I think he's a great person.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a Lee Corso here. That's a bad pick. No, I like Malik Tillman, but like I feel like he hasn't really broken out in terms of his USMNT play. Like he's been okay. I think he's been good. But
I think I'm with you. Yeah.
he's been okay.
I'm a believer, but
Yeah,
like,
I'm a
I
believer. Like I
yeah.
like him. Like I want to keep seeing him, but I don't know. I wouldn't say he's broken out. It's kind of tough with our roster because I think most of our rosters sort of been set in place generally for a while. So I think in terms of guys that have broken out, hate to bring up the Christian's MVP, but Pepe in a way has broken out. I
Yeah.
think from his standing is not even being on the World Cup roster to now
For sure.
being a key, locked-in key player. He's a contender, and obviously Balogun as well is really the main new addition.
Yeah.
That, in a sense, has broken out.
That's a-
It's a
that's
cop
kind of a
out.
cop-out.
Who else do you name, Lodge? Not
I mean, I have another guy, but I think he's my 12th man, so I can't say him too.
Real quick, mine's Gio. Like, you
Okay.
know, weirdly, when you really think about it, Gio hadn't really played a huge role for the national team. He had a good Nations League final, but he's literally just been hurt like the last 2 years. And over COVID was when he was really breaking out with Dortmund and like didn't even get a look in. So, you know, he's finally come into the team and done really well. So, yeah, I've got breakout player for Gio. Okay, worst U.S. men's national team Twitter account.
God, just that guy that called us incels, maybe.
I'm not even going to glorify this guy because there's one guy who has this insane agenda against us. Like this dude is like deep in his parents' basement, and he has decided that we are like MLS shills. All right, I want everyone to tell me how many MLS games did you sit down and watch this year? Well, I should say we both went to one. We both went to a Chicago Fire.
We
game.
did in fact go to a game. Do you count playoffs?
Yeah.
Two,
Okay, two.
including the one I watched like in person.
Yeah.
Max?
Yeah, I've watched 0.
Yeah, so I went to 2 games. I threw on like the red zone several times on my third monitor.
How
it
is
good?
that?
Yeah.
It's fun, yeah, it's good.
Fun?
Yeah, it's a good time.
Is it Apple TV?
Yeah. So and part of it is just like the Apple TV, you know,
Who runs it?
cameras are fantastic. Like the
Yeah.
whole production.
The
just looks
AK,
amazing.
the AK thing going on.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Anyways, and you know what? I'm certainly not disparaging anybody who wants to watch the MLS. Like, but
More power to
But
you.
Jesus Christ, man, relax, get off our. This dude like attacking us 24/7.
Yeah.
Again, he will not be named, but that's the kind of thing you run into. I mean, you have to remember you are on the same website as Yankees fans, Eagles fans, some of the worst people on this earth.
Alexi Lalas.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Your 12th man, best man off the bench.
Also, could have been my breakout player of the year, Luca De La Torre.
Oh, okay.
I think Luca De La
You
Torre
have a very weird definition of breakout.
because who did we play in his role coming off the bench in the last World Cup? Kellen Acosta. Having Kellen Acosta and upgrading to Luca De La Torre and actually playing him means so much to the squad. Having a guy who can have some presence in the midfield,
like,
who's not just an MLS guy that we're throwing out there.
I agree with that side of it, but what like think of the antonym of breakout, maybe ease in, and that I think is a better description of what De La Torre has been doing.
But
he's more of an ease in.
In some injuries, instead of having MMA start every game or MGM every once in a while, like having him come into a game, taking one of the spots of one of the guys, if they need to sub out in say like a Nations League game or something like that, or say in like the Copa America, if we don't want to play all these guys or somebody's on a minutes restriction, if Tyler Adams is on a minutes restriction, I have some faith that Luca De La Torre will be that guy and will be able to deliver.
I like him too.
I think this is a good segue to my biggest disappointment, Luca De La Torre.
Wow.
Wow. I agree with. I get what Elijah's is saying. Like, it's great to have that player, and I watch him for Celta, and somebody made the comment like he makes interesting runs, but then there's not like a whole lot of end product, and he's not very strong either. Like he's kind of just like a technical. Like he's good in Spain. Like Spain's not a very athletic league, and like I think he's in a good spot. Like it suits him. But I just don't. And I'm not even. If we play tomorrow and we got 2 8s hurt, I'm definitely playing them. But my overall feeling is just like lack of delivering.
I mean, my counter to that is we're playing in a South American tournament, Copa America. I don't think we're going to need to be playing terribly physically compared to, say, like a World Cup or something like that.
Okay.
We're playing a lot of European teams. I think this is the perfect chance for him to cement his spot and to shine a little bit.
All right. Well, I hope he does, and I think you might be right there. But purposes of this year, I was left a little unimpressed. I'll say that. All right, Coach of the Year. We had 3 different coaches on the U.S. men's national team. Rank them: Anthony Hudson, B.J. Callanan, and Greg Berhalter.
If you don't know the right answer to this one, you shouldn't be watching this podcast. Can we just give it to BJ right now? Probably. Can we just give it to BJ? Yeah. I mean, BJ Callahan is probably the fan favorite.
He's the GOAT.
the best coach we've had this season. The vibes were the highest. The team was playing the best. I think we all love BJ and miss BJ. The step coach, the step coach that stepped up. So shout out BJ. I would say if we had to stack rank though, Lodge, what are you going for 2 and 3?
Personal agendas aside, Greg's still 3.
Greg's still 3.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
Anthony Hudson got a lot of credit for like putting Gio in and beating Granada, which I suppose looks a lot better since Greg can't beat Trinidad on the road. But I still thought that they were pretty stinky, that El Salvador game. And then, Greg at least had one really, really good win against who was it? The Ghana?
Yeah.
We're splitting hairs. I'm giving Greg 2 over Hudson, but I mean, BJ's our king.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fuck
BJ's
it, we
our
ball.
king. Yep.
BJ's the guy. Yeah.
Best meme of the year. You got one in mind here?
No,
Okay. I just went with the Serginio Dest hype videos.
Oh.
Aforementioned hype videos where Serginio Dest has absolutely no business posting a celebratory video of all his tricks and skills after his team gets drubbed.
The last one that he posted where everybody was saying, oh, you didn't like show any of you playing any defensive work, and it was just like all tackles that he made or receptions. It was incredible.
I have some. All right, yeah, good one too is also. God, I don't remember what the meme was, but it was about Brendan Aronson, and it was about the guy that walks really fast to make it look like he's busy.
Yeah.
That's Brendan Aronson, and then also the great BJ memes.
Yeah.
The step coach that stepped up.
Yeah.
Good meme.
Nice. All right. What we got here? I think we finished with this one. Or Max, I liked your suggestion one. That guy's still on the team? ? Award. Anybody in mind?
Miles Robinson? ?
Okay, yeah, I
Is he
can
still
see
on the
that.
team? I don't know. I was.
He's still on the team.
He hasn't been in for a minute, has he? I don't know.
He played against Oman, but you know what? Sorry to do this. Biggest disappointment. I'm actually gonna take Luka out. Zendejas. He was such a disappointment. I forgot about
That's
him.
a good one. Yeah.
He was.
He wins this award too. We kind of forgot about Zendejas.
Yeah.
He was like he was kind of like a big deal for a second there, and then he was just like meh.
Then he couldn't handle it in the Gold Cup.
Yeah.
Then. So
I'm not going to say who my biggest disappointment is because I think you guys all know who it is.
Turner.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you talk about it? This is a podcast. This is your platform.
Well, I don't want to throw in club, but I think I have to throw in club.
No,
here.
you can't. That's actually against the rules.
So then, I mean, my whole agenda is that he was going to lose the starting spot, unfortunately, in an area where he probably was in a no-win situation. I mean, I believe it was a Greek owner that took over.
Yeah.
And it was a Greek goalkeeper that joined the team.
Yeah.
Worst situation that he could have possibly put himself in, but now he's out of the squad, unfortunately, or out of the starting lineup. But that's my biggest disappointment is that he wasn't able to keep that role in the Prem.
Yeah, and I do think it might directly affect what he looks like going forward. So, yeah, okay. Anybody got a worst take of the year? I don't think I got anything too strong. I thought the Taylor Booth hype was a little bit much.
I've got a good one.
Yeah.
Landon Donovan.
Okay. Yes, I'm ready for this.
Landon Donovan. When Christian Pulisic wasn't sure what squad he was going to, Landon came out and said that he should have gone to the MLS instead of Serie A. The MLS instead of Serie A. I'm not gonna say anything more. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Just a classic Landon take.
Classic Landon. He's like, you gotta join the hometown and get super excited for the World Cup and prep everybody in the country and everything. You're not getting any kind of prep for the World Cup playing in the MLS compared to Serie A. of all places. That was I was looking just like way back through my likes, and it was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's my worst take of the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna set mine aside because that is that wins. That was an awful take.
That's a pretty bad take.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Just a little close here. Sports Center style. I got my top 10 moments of the year. And you guys just feel free to comment. All right, number 10. I got the indirect free kick versus Ghana. Ball's a couple yards away, and there's a little. I don't know who touched the ball first, but Gio ends up putting it top bins in an indirect free kick situation that you never see. That was my number 10. Great game against Ghana there. Arguably our best performance of the year. Number 9, the Pirate of the Caribbean. Over the summer, the team played in the Gold Cup. It was like our C team, and Jesus Ferreira, who often got heat for only scoring against the Caribbean teams, got the nickname the Pirate of the Caribbean, which was just fantastic. And he destroyed the Caribbean, but anywhere outside of it, he's had a little bit of trouble. But that was a very funny saga. Pepe's goal against El Salvador in April to qualify us for the Nations League. Another one of those classic Pepe moments where he saved us. Really nice chip off a breakaway. That's my number 8. Number 7. Not the step coach, but this coach who stepped up. BJ Callanan coming in, getting lots of comments that he looks like a football coach. He's handing out scholarships, but against all odds, he takes the boys to the Nations League, beats Mexico, beats Canada. Really fun summer, really fun moment there. And quite improbable. Number 6, Matt Turner's penalty heroics versus Canada in the Gold Cup. When it came down to penalties there, all game, I was kind of watching us play Canada, and it was a very like MLS heavy group. Nothing too crazy in the way of like contributors to the national team on the A-team level. But when it went in the penalties, you had your eye on our number 1, Matt Turner, and he absolutely stepped up. And I believe he stopped 3 penalties, or I don't know what she saved. Yeah, incredible, and beat Canada. A pretty electric scene there. So that's number 6. Number 5, Ricardo Pepi sits down Guillermo Ochoa. Pepi obviously being the El Paso boy, big Mexican heritage, and putting down the keeper who he probably watched from the time he was this big for Mexico because he's been around so long, and he sits him down after a beautiful Serginio assist in the Nations League to win 3-0. Just absolute rout of Mexico. That was a blast. Number 4, I got Christian Pulisic's goal versus Germany. It's fun there to go up on Germany. You would have liked to do a lot better with it, but gorgeous goal of the year. Number 3, Gio assists Balogun to seal the Nations League 2-0.
That one just felt good.
Oh, it felt
That felt so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Getting Balogun off the mark and just feeling on top of the world after that, really. So finally, number 2, I have the Mexico fight that saw Weston McKennie get the red card and kiss the badge. Cesar Montes, I believe it was, in Mexico, just goes after Balogun like completely unnecessarily. Basically just takes a full hack at him. And the boys rally around their new recruit and just absolutely mob this man.
What a time.
That was so awesome.
God, how far we've declined since then.
Really, vibes were off the charts. McKennie gets his jersey ripped in half, kisses the badge, image that we'll see on every highlight reel for the next 10 years when it comes to the U.S.
At least, yeah.
Especially with the rivalry against Mexico. And my number 1 moment, maybe there's some debate around this, but Fuller and Balogun being spotted in Orlando by the aforementioned U.S. men's national team burner account, who did like a GeoGuessr moment, found like a bar that was in the background of a picture he posted, and we were off from there. It was clear that Fuller and Balogun wanted us. All the American flags that were spamming on all of his social media was coming to fruition, and then he eventually commits with a pretty slick commitment video. And that, for me, given this 2023 was always going to be more of a quiet year, transitional year, that was a moment of electricity, getting him in.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, we've never had a striker quite like him.
Yep.
So a huge moment looking back on that for sure.
Yeah.
And also just looking at the BJ moments in there. I mean, so many of those moments are BJ moments.
Yeah, they are.
You know, and so, God, the vibes were high. It's tough. You know,
I hope we can get there.
Yeah, it made me even sadder now that I think of the good times we were in. But hey, we got some time. We got some more games coming up.
It's like
Fun to
summer
see.
2016, if you would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, boys, we should do a little. We should get on the road maybe for one of these games.
Should
Do
we?
A little trip. Maybe?
Yeah. Let's talk about it right now. So like we got the games are in Dallas
Okay.
for the Nations League.
Okay.
It's like a Thursday and a Sunday.
Well, they're in January, right?
March.
Jamaica's March.
Yeah.
No, Jamaica was before March.
Yeah.
So there's Camp Cupcake in January with just like MLS players or U20 players.
Gotcha.
I don't know. If we'll
I would be in for Dallas.
Yeah. So the
That's,
thing
that's
is,
a cheap flight. We could.
I could do
that.
Yeah, I could do Dallas.
yeah, it is a cheap flight. I mean, I feel like we gotta experience the vibes of a
We do.
USA Mexico game.
Yeah.
I gotta get a drink thrown at me or something, you know.
Yeah. Wait, so yeah.
Especially,
so it is.
especially in a southern state.
Well, yeah, because it would be
Yeah.
like isn't it like a Thursday Jamaica game and then it would be like a
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
I would almost like.
prefer
bank
to do
on
this
the-
bank on the
bank on
Sunday.
Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like try to get there.
Dude, what if we have to watch Jamaica Mexico? You think we should just roll the dice?
What if we went to watch? Who does
I'll do
Jamaica
Jamaica.
play?
That's
again.
actually a funny pot
Does
story for the pod.
does
I think
Mexico
that
play
happened.
Canada?
Canada's not in it.
I don't think
Mexico
so.
plays
Yeah.
Honduras.
So what if it was like a Honduras?
Oh, wait, no,
Honduras,
excuse me,
Jamaica.
not Honduras. El Salvador. Yep, that's who it is.
Okay. I would be down.
All right.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
Say no more. My
No,
my buddy, shout out Jake Semino, my buddy and former roommate. He's got tickets to the game.
Really?
He's all locked in
For the
it, so-
final?
Yeah, he and semifinal. I believe he texted me about it.
I
but-
can't imagine. I mean, AT&T Stadium, we can probably get cheap tickets. That's a big stadium.
Well, the thing is, they know what they're doing. Like you said,
Yeah.
they put that. And by the way, Mexico shouldn't even be in this shit. Most rigged game I have ever seen in my life. Mexico versus Honduras. They literally just were like, all right, we're playing until Mexico scores.
Yeah.
Like that was the vibes. It was insane.
Was it the 100th minute?
It was like
Something-
100 and yeah.
It was
sorry,
something
100.
ridiculous.
It was like 8 minutes of stoppage time, and it was
Yeah.
like 10 minutes in. It was crazy rigged. So,
Money or ratings, not sure which. Just saw it live. Sorry. Yeah.
both, and so yeah, it's gonna be in Dallas. It's gonna be a ton of Mexican fans, as is always the case for USA Mexico game. They always put it in Denver, Arizona, somewhere where there's gonna be a big Mexican contingency, and I think it'd be fun to be in enemy territory like that. So I'm down.
I'm down.
Only consideration is you got Copa America.
I was about to say one last question before we ended up
True,
here.
that's a good point.
When
we got to balance out here.
when do the actual
Next week,
next week?
a week from now, we get groups and cities.
Holy hell! I know what we know what cities they're going to be in.
No, we
Wait,
don't.
are they going to be in Chicago? Do we have any?
We literally don't know what cities. It's crazy. It's like somebody should tell us.
I thought that it was going to be the same cities that they had the World Cup for. And it was just going to be a prep. I thought that was the whole deal.
Nope.
The whole deal. Well,
Well, big
Different
news.
ball game.
Big news.
here we know.
Maybe we get Chicago.
Yeah.
But
Argentina, USA, and Soldier Field.
let's go.
What a scene.
Booking it.
Let's go.
Booking it right away. Buying as many tickets as possible.
3-0 win for the Yanks. All right, shall we get out of here?
Yeah,
That was fun. All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
See you guys.
See ya.